My boyfriend of 16 years refuses to let me decorate our house, but he let his mistress completely change it after a week of my move out. Now, all their efforts will be trashed. My boyfriend Rick and I own a home together. Even though we own a home together and have been together for 16 years, I still feel like a roommate to him. Like he can't commit to me. Here are some things he does that make me question whether he's really in this with me. Though we live together and own a home together, we keep our bank accounts separate. He also insists on paying the mortgage by himself with his account every month. Second, Rick has not allowed me to put any personal touches on our home. Though we've lived in it for a while, it looks the same as when we moved in, except the room his computer is in, which is decorated to his liking. Whenever I mention something we could do, like paint, or show him something I like, he either tells me it's dumb or says he doesn't like it. I don't push him because I don't want to start an argument. Third, Rick and I recently got engaged. I know that doesn't scream commitment issues, but hear me out. A few years ago, a couple of our close friends got engaged. I was upset because I'd had to watch my friends get married after being with their boyfriends for much shorter periods. He caught on to my bad mood during their engagement and wedding, and I told him why I was upset. So a week after their wedding, he agreed to get me a ring. I went with him to buy it. I thought I was finally getting somewhere, but he told me it wasn't an engagement and that I could wear it, but he'd ask when he was ready. It's like he bought the ring to shut me up about marriage. After months of his friends cracking jokes about our non-engagement, he finally just decided one night while we were at home that it could be official. It wasn't my dream proposal, but it was finally happening. So I said yes. He insisted on a long engagement, at least a year, and didn't want to set a date. I began planning and looking at wedding stuff because I figured it would eventually happen, but he never seemed interested. It's been about 6 months and we've picked a date, with much pushing on my part, but he wants nothing to do with any wedding planning unless it's to voice his dislike of something I've done. He spends most of his days on his computer when he's not at work, and if he does happen to come out to see me, he goes right back shortly after if I so much as bring up the wedding. He has very strong opinions about what our wedding shouldn't be, but he doesn't want to talk about the wedding to give me an idea of what he wants. Every idea I have for the wedding gets shot down. It's almost as though he's trying to stop the wedding from ever happening by making sure I can't plan it. He told my close friend's husband that he regrets proposing because I've been going crazy about the wedding and that he wouldn't have proposed had he known what I would act like. Like what? He's surprised that wedding planning takes place after you get engaged? Update. I hired a lawyer and moved out one day while Rick was at work. Because my name is on the title and mortgage, my lawyer assures me he either has to sell the house and split the profit with me or buy me out. I know he can't afford to buy me out, so I assume we'll put it up for sale. I get most of my things out of the house, except for a vanity and a dresser that are too heavy for my friends and me to move. I moved out the day before Halloween. Since then, I've messaged Rick a few times to see what we will do about the house and to schedule a time to pick up the rest of my furniture. He's pretty elusive about everything. So last Thursday, I showed up at the house with some friends to help me get my stuff. He's changed the locks, so I can't get in. We wait for him to get off work and return, and he lets me in to get my stuff. Before he let me in, he said, "You asked for this, so I don't want to hear it." I didn't know what he meant. I was not prepared to walk through that door, but when I did, it became obvious why he didn't want me to come pick up my stuff. And I didn't even recognize the house I lived in just a week prior. It was painted, furniture, art, and things everywhere. And I could tell by looking around that Rick didn't do this alone. There are pictures of him and some women all over the place. They must go back at least a year because one was taken on New Year's, though I couldn't tell what year. I just left. I can buy more furniture, but I couldn't spend a second more in that house. Rick texted me right after I left saying, "We're not selling, we're just going to buy you out." I was at a complete loss for words. I'm still in shock. I honestly don't know how I was so blind, but I'm glad I got out when I did, even if he did waste half of my life. Update. My name would still be on the mortgage even if I sell, so I've decided not to sign the paperwork accepting the buyout. Rick was not okay with this and has been blowing up my phone ever since he found out today, calling me a petty bitch and saying that I was just trying to ruin his life because he was finally happy. I know they're both pissed off because they put a lot of effort into the home in the short time since I've left, and honestly, I kind of feel better that they won't be able to enjoy it. I signed a lease for a one-bedroom apartment today, so by this time next week, I'll have my place. I've already bought many things to decorate it with, and I didn't have to get anyone's permission. It didn't even cross my mind to mention to my lawyer that he's been preventing me from accessing a home I own. I will speak to my lawyer about ensuring I get a new key and that she can no longer live there. I don't care how vindictive that sounds. I've earned the right to be a little vindictive.